I myself, the producer of this podcast, is not eligible to diagnose anyone with a mental health disorder. This podcast is purely for artists discussing the mental health hurdles they struggle with on a daily basis. The pressure of making it. For artists, the pressure sometimes feels a little bit too much. Some artists make a career change in the blink of an eye in hopes to make it as a full-time actor or actress or writer or producer or director. And quite frankly, I don't know if I know anyone else who is qualified to talk about this topic more than my next guest, Randee Sloane, actress based out of New York. Randee came into acting later in life after working as a private investigator for 15 years. She quickly got herself training while learning about the business side of the industry as well. She started networking and eventually showcasing until she landed a manager who's gotten her into the audition rooms for Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, HBO, CBS, ABC, and NBC. Along the way, Randee landed leads and supporting roles in countless of short films, and she's a proud member of Equity for Theater. 2 years ago, Randee made her first short documentary on a subject very close to her heart, mental health awareness and suicide prevention. Next up for her is a full-length stage production that her and her best friend Andrew Marino wrote together. Here's my episode with Randee Sloane and the pressures of making it.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
This episode, I'd like to talk about the pressure of quote-unquote making it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is, I would like to talk about, what's your version of making it, and, pressure we put the pressure we put on ourselves to make art. You're an actor, producer. You do dabble in writing, right? Have you?
I have. My best friend Andrew Marino, who wrote the Della Morte Sisters. I sort of help him when we're working on a project. And I told Andrew this in my interview with him, that he's so open to my ideas. And I love that I love him for that. And I told Andrew this, that, I get crazy with it. I get a little carried away and I start calling him late at night. And he's like, okay, click, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Because I get so excited about writing. I do. And Andrew's always telling me, he's a writer, and he says, why are you not writing? You have great ideas and you're funny. And I'm like, let's not go there, because to write funny is not easy. So we have a full-length stage production that we're hoping to put on in the next year and a half. Yeah, and I helped him with that.
If you have auditions, just let me know.
Yeah.
Shameless.
Get your experience.
I'm doing some shameless ass self-promotion right now. So you laugh right now, but you're definitely going to be like, yeah, that's fucking
You'll be the first one that when I put it on.
So one of the questions here is, the pressure of your family and friends not believing it's real work. And you said you never, your family doesn't do that. And I think that's, honestly, I think that's great. We talked about the big support system you have and how you want to kind of trickle that down to your kids who are just kind of really entering adulthood in the sense of, high school's done and
now
the real world happens.
Real world starting with college.
A lot of people, myself included, I thought high school at the time was, oh my God, this is real problems. And then you're like, nah, motherfucker, bills and a job that has to do cutbacks and a job that doesn't have enough hours. Yeah. Yep. So we don't have to really necessarily harp on that, because it does sound like you have a great support system with your family.
Yes, and I just want to interrupt you for a second and say, getting into the industry, the acting industry, I think we talked about it before we started this. Initially, I had no idea what it entailed. I think we did talk about this, and I didn't know it, so they didn't know it. They didn't understand that you just, you can't just go into the acting industry and be like, okay, I want an agent. Yeah. Okay, I want to be on Law and Order. No, it doesn't work that way. I want
money.
Yeah, there are steps. Yeah. This is a process. Yeah. And I made sure I explained that to them.
That's good, though. You're taking on producing and writing. I mean, producing and acting.
And acting.
My apologies. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressure there.
There's a lot of pressure. And to me, the biggest pressure is pre-production, because once you're on set, there's a lot of pressure on set, because you need, again, time is money, and you need everything to flow smoothly. But pre-production, to me, like I think you touched upon it in the last episode, it's about, hiring, auditioning actors and getting the right actors that fit these roles. It's about securing locations, securing, insurance. I take insurance. I do, SAG films, and they're not easy. They're tough. And, just permits and location scouting, getting crew members, and haggling with them, because we're independent filmmakers. And could you work with me a little here? And, all the while, just showing respect. And I always say that because every person on a film set is important and integral to the film being completed.
I agree.
And I have so much respect for every single crew member, especially crew members. Not that I don't have for actors, but they work their asses off for, sometimes no money, for sometimes little money. And they're there for, gosh, like we said, 15 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take back what I said. I know I said, like, producers, actors, writers, they're the big kahunas, which they are.
Right. They're going to get it
started. There's other cogs in the machine.
Oh yeah.
The producer hires every crew member.
Everybody and
cast member. They hire everyone.
Yeah.
And then they're in charge of finances. They're in charge of the finances. They're in charge of scheduling. They're in charge of the location. That's why I do say producing and producers are the backbone of the film.
And I didn't know that until I started producing.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of people think, and I say this all the time, producing is funding the film. No, it's not. No. That's executive producer. Yep. Producer is, like you said,
is the boss.
Backbone.
Yeah. They hire everyone.
Everybody thinks the director is, no. It's the
When you see Leonardo DiCaprio as the EP, he put X amount of money into the film that he hopes to get back. But when you see, most likely under the producing credit is the director.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So besides, I guess, some pressures you do feel from, in the beginning, your family and friends, like of not understanding like what it takes. What could be some other outside forces of pressure? Like, would you say social media? Would you say, seeing your, does it have to dive in a little bit to having imposter syndrome in the sense of like, oh, I don't really belong here? Like, what are some pressures in the beginning of your career that were weighing on you that you kind of dealt with over the past and you've been able to overcome?
I'm not sure if this is the right answer, but
let me look at my notes.
Let me look at my notes. Thank God you can't see me. And it's like so big, these letters. What am I, 95? Jeez. I think that when you first come into the industry of acting and filmmaking and all that, I think you have all these ideas in your head what it's going to be versus the reality of it. And I do remember, I don't even know if this is the right answer, but I do, because you said imposter syndrome, which is kind of stuck out of me. If I could tell an actor starting out anything, I would say, know your role. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Know your role. Know what characters you can play. I didn't know that when I first started.
You had no idea what your strengths were?
I didn't. Well,
or weaknesses?
Look,
not weaknesses, but you didn't know your strengths or your typecast?
No.
Really?
I didn't. I thought I can play a Southern belle. Chris, look at me. I am not a Southern belle with this Long Island accent. I'm just not. Nor am I a Midwestern farmer. It's not going to happen. Embrace who you are. Embrace that. I could be a tough detective, or I could be a mom. I could play a doctor. I can play a nurse. I can play an attorney. Just given the right circumstances and the right, scenario.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play a British, I'm not going to play King Lear. It's just not happening. I have respect for people that can do that. God bless them. I think that that's so important. And ask teachers and your your co-stars, your actor friends and teachers, coaches, whatever. ask them, what do they see you as?
Yeah.
Because their perspective might be very different than yours. I remember Anthony Grasso, again, I mentioned him on this one. Gosh, Anthony. When we were in class, he made us one week, he made us stand up individually. And now everybody's seeing your performances in class every week. And we had to go around the room, and they, based on the performances that they've seen and that they know you, what are your strongest roles and what they thought, not weaker, but what the strongest ones. And I always got detective, of course. But then there were some, I don't recall at the moment, but that I was like, really? Let me try to, tune into that, hone into that. Maybe I can one day play that. But I just think that you have to be realistic. Listen to what people have to say. Listen to what people have to say about the roles that you can do, the roles that they think you can play, and never get insulted. Like if you said to me, Randee, or if you were like a casting for a project you had and I applied for it, and you never want to hurt anybody's feelings, of course, but I'm okay with that. Like, say to me, I don't really see you in this role. I might curse you in the background, but I'm still going to be your friend.
Yeah, no, I get a little upset when people think it's, they pigeonholed you to one specific thing.
Yes, that I don't like though.
Yeah, I'm along the lines of you. I'm not going to be able to play, a farmer from Texas. I'm working in the mines of Pennsylvania, Delaware. I'm not gonna. I may not be able to do that. Yes, I'm an Italian guy from New Jersey, so everyone's going to think, oh, you can play mobster,
Right,
But
right.
as I mentioned, in your first episode with your project, like, that world that you created for Del Morte Sisters, it wasn't like a generic mobster,
Right.
mob film, let's say, without giving too much away. But so, yeah, I would, and I grew up like loving comedy. Robin Williams and Jim Carrey, all their films were always on my TV. Me imitating Ace Ventura, and my mom's like, "You're fucking crazy." Like I said, Robin Williams, The Birdcage, like that's my go-to like movie to go to all the time. But much like Robin Williams, like I would love to try to do more dramas. Really, like how he did. Like, and I think that's good for any actor to do multiple type genres, or
right. And don't be so quick to say to yourself, oh, I couldn't do that. I mean, to me, try it.
Yeah,
try it. Even if somebody says, I don't see you as this type of character in this role, but you know what, maybe a casting director does. But my thing is just be open to what people have to say to you. And we perceive ourselves very differently than others perceive us.
Yeah.
And acting teachers and coaches, they see what they're seeing. They've booked. They know, a lot of the times what they're looking for. So you take a little bit of each, and you sort of meld it together to come out with something that you think you can play.
Yeah, I mean, I used to really tell myself, "Oh, you can't cry, you can't cry." Like I really used to tell myself that, because I've been in the film industry like post college, because I don't count college. 10 years now, acting about 5 or 6, like seriously acting like 5 years. Like, I'm talking about like going to classes, reading books, auditioning, all of that, and obviously in those 5-6 years, a lot has happened in my life, like good, bad, all that. So I think I'm able to like really, tap into like a certain amount of emotion. Like I've started going to therapy in 2020, and I hated it. Like I just absolutely hated it, because it's, it was just so just, something I never wanted to do. But it was, now I can't really live without it, if I'm being honest with you, and I think, it kind of like it has really kind of wakened me up a little bit,
I think that a lot of people are adverse to going because they are afraid to bring, for something to come to the surface
Yeah.
that they've pushed down for so long. I'm totally for therapy.
Mhm.
If it's going to make you feel better, go for
agree.
it.
I
Go for
agree.
it. Again, with everything that we've gone through in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
mental health awareness is just so important right now.
Yeah, and I think, I think for like it's important for men to not just men, because I was pretty much raised, I lived with my mom most of the time. My parents split, and I lived with my mom and sister, and I did see my dad, like a few times a month, but like I was around my mom all the time, so I was very much, I very much saw like my mom and my sister be very in touch with like their feelings and like letting it all out. So I was used to that, and then when I was 7 or 8, my mom remarried, and I was around my stepdad, who was very much, great personality, but I didn't know, if something bothered him, it was just wasn't talked about, if that makes sense. And so like a lot of men don't talk about like some of my best, some of my best friends since I was a kid, like we're only starting to be like, so how do you feel?
So,
and I know it sounds weird,
no,
but it's
no. It's whereas women can just, we could dedicate a whole night to it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question now. How do you think is a male actor, rejection? How to, you're a guy, you're different than me, and women aren't afraid to, I know you said you wear your heart on your sleeve, but I'm not afraid to come home or talk to a friend on the way home from the audition or after here, doing it at home and saying, you know what, I really want this and I didn't get it. I'm really upset and I'm really starting to get down on myself. Would you be willing to talk like that? Or are you still going to keep it inside?
I'm probably going to still keep it inside, because it's my problem thinking that no one's going to understand. If I found like someone in the acting community who I've become really close with,
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably share it with them. I'll share it with my wife, and but unfortunately, I kind of act the same whether it's with wins or losses, and I think that kind of sucks, because she doesn't know like when I'm excited about something versus when I'm not. Like I'm like, oh, I booked this role. And
really?
Yeah, because I'm unfortunately a very, I'm a very negative person, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
And I do think going back to putting pressure on myself, I think I put way too much pressure on myself. I think I'm like, oh, I've been here 10 years, I should be here, and I'm only here. That's my downfall, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like I put a lot of pressure on myself. I put a lot of just like it kind of eats away at me that I haven't like sat down, written the full length for like Little Did She, like, and I'll be very open and candid with you if you don't mind.
Of course.
I've sat with like Andrew and Katie, and I'm like, man, I really wonder if everyone on the short just thinks I'm like full of shit, because I was very inspired by the short. I was very inspired to write the feature. And then I was like, well, I really got some good feedback on like my acting and writing. So like, let me try to work on some different stuff.
Right.
And I'm sitting here being like, no, we're going to do the feature. Like,
No,
like,
but you can't put that pressure on
I know,
yourself.
I know. But like, it still is like, I'm wondering, especially all you guys, because.
No, I think your intention is there. I've always thought your intention was there to film it.
I've never told anyone this. Because you were there for the first day. We shot 2 days there.
Yes.
The second day we shot at my dad's house, and everyone left, and I'm uploading footage. I sat there and I just fucking cried out of like happiness, because I was like,
I did it.
Like, holy shit, like this is like, I did, I wrote and directed a superhero film that I was trying to pitch, as a TV series, and then I produced and acted in like another film where like the director and the writer, they kind of more so took that under their, and that's their baby. Not saying that film wasn't my baby, but like Little Did She Know was like I put everything into it. I put my money, I put producing, I put my directing, I put acting, like all of it. And then
what a sense of ownership! Like that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's what it felt. So, but then I was like, fuck, man, this is over. And then so I do get like, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm getting to a point where I said like that one little thing of Little Did She Know, I put my pressure on like. Doug, Randee, and Katie probably think like I'm full of shit, because I'm like, I'd said like I'm gonna make this. and then I haven't yet
Right,
because I'm
right.
trying to like, I'm waiting for the right moment. And there might never be a right moment. You just have to do it.
Yep.
But I want to kind of get a few other projects under my belt
Before you tackle
before I
on
do
feature.
it. But I really do think like I'm one project away from being like, fuck it. Like if Little Did She Know is going to be my first feature and it means so much to me, a lot of people say like their first feature doesn't go the way they want it to, you know?
So it's like
I don't want to butcher it.
I get it.
I really
totally
don't want to butcher
understand.
it, you know, because it's a story of travel, like you traveling. I'm really not gonna, I don't have the money to really travel to Florida and film or really, so I have to do my due diligence of like, you know, being very smart, you know, but that's where like I take everything you say, like, if you need help producing, just give me fucking credit, you know, help me out a little bit monetarily and I'll help you. And like, that's something I'm going to take very, you know, very seriously. And at the time, Andrew's like, well, we already shot 20 minutes of it, so we can use that. I'm like, no, we got to I want to you know, I really want to reshoot an intro and I want to do that.
I think you could, here comes the filmmaker.
Of course, yeah.
I think you could do a I'm so big on flashbacks.
Yeah.
You could do a flashback to one of those
scenes. Yeah.
One of those scenes. Yeah, but
or
I
use
agree with
Katie
you.
And because me personally, I've lost a little bit of weight since then, so I might look a little different, or like I'd have to go back and be like, my hair and beard need to be the exact, you know,
but
same.
Even
kind
if
of
you're I love how we're talking about this now.
Sorry, yeah.
But even if I think filmmakers have done this too. Like, you know, they incorporate that's a very interesting topic though. Have filmmakers incorporated their shorts into their features? Do I know anybody
I don't
who made
know.
a feature from
the
a
movie
short?
Whiplash was originally a short, and then it was
But
made
I
into a
didn't see-
feature.
yeah.
So I think like maybe certain shots
They
and
utilize.
I'm sure they redid some certain shots and all that.
But that would be interesting.
But it's like the way technology is, and if Andrew's shooting it again and coloring it, it could, you know, I could use the bookstore scene.
You hear that,
you know?
Andrew?
Yeah, I could use the bookstore scene. But yeah, you know, going back, and I wasn't really trying to make it about myself, but in general, yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself, but I wonder if that's because, you know, I'm not that young, I'm not that old, you know, I'm probably in a state where I'm like trying to figure it out still, you know, I don't know how long I can use that as an excuse, but it's more so like, you know, when are you going to kind of just like quiet all the like doubt in your head and be like, no, like for this instance, we're talking about like Randee, Devin, Katie, Doug, Andrew, they all trust you. So stop thinking like they're like, nah, fuck this guy. You know, really, like that's tough. I think that's just,
You're putting more
every
of,
artist is insecure, in my opinion. I think
there's
most artists
so
are
much
insecure.
insecurity. I think.
Yeah, I have a lot of it. I really do, because it's like I went into it being like, oh, I'm doing this for fun. This is awesome. Then if I'm going to be honest, and I'm not trying to like pat my own back to my own horn, when people started like recognizing like, nah, man, like this is more than just a hobby for you.
Yeah.
Like you could actually make this a career. That's when I was like, oh, fuck.
Well,
like,
shit. But you love it so
holy
much.
shit, yeah,
that
you know?
you're so drawn to it.
Yeah. So like, you know, and it's tough. I don't know if you're feeling it this way with your recent film, like, you know, all these, you know, Little Did She Know and a few other films I've done like have gotten accolades. It's like, man,
Yes.
like what are they expecting from you next, kind of thing. And I know that sounds silly, but it's like, you know, it's just, it goes under the umbrella of pressure of what we're talking about.
Right.
And it's the pressure I'm putting on myself. But
Absolutely.
you know, but winning awards or like working with people like that should make you feel really good, you know?
And I think that it does for its time that it's in your life.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something very interesting just now. You said it's almost as if people are expecting better than your last project. Do you know, I never think about that. Andrew and I have this written. He has written like a couple of shorts, again, the full length stage production. I never think that. I really don't. I think art is art. And yeah, like Delamorte had a great run. It's having a great run.
Yeah.
My next project that I do that's produced by me, or, you know, I'm one of the leads in it, I'm not going to put that pressure on myself, because I refuse to, because every project is different. And I think you learn from each project that you do more than saying, well, I'm going to do this for my next project. Me, I think I'm going to not do this
Yeah,
in the next
that's
project,
smart.
you know?
Yeah.
And we're all human and we're going to fuck up and we're going to make, you know, mistakes. And, but that's just all part. Oh, this is so new world. Part of the growth.
Uh-huh.
And we have growth as humans. We have growth as artists. And why shouldn't we embrace that?
Even like Martin Scorsese says, I'm going to stop making movies when I stop learning. And he's like, I have never stopped learning.
Exactly.
And that's to some people, that's the greatest American director of all time. You know, like one of the best directors to come out of, you know, America ever. So if he's sitting there saying, I'm still learning at 75, 76 years old.
We got a while to
at
go.
35,
exactly.
I can't think like, you know what? I've peaked. I've learned it all. No, because I haven't lived my full life. So to you, what in your own words, what's the definition of a successful artist?
That is, let me get my notes because I did write this down. See, I'm so honest.
It's better than being like, well, and then you just hear paper flipping. You know?
I think a successful artist can be perceived different ways. Different people have different views and opinions on that. To me, somebody who is successful, whether as an artist or anything else, is when they have started doing out something that they love and they have such a drive for. And if it's in, you know, if we're talking about actors, as long as we're creating art and they're going after their dreams, I mean, that's their passion. Isn't that success right there? You know, and then to some, becoming an A-list actor, that's their definition of a successful actor. Being a working actor, that's other people's. I mean, it's to each his own. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen for the majority of us. We're not going to be, you know, rubbing elbows with Leo and, you know, Tom Hanks. And it's just not going to happen. We could strive for that. So actors, don't get on my case. We can strive for that.
Yeah, you strive to be, you know.
But you have to be realistic.
Yeah, you have to be grounded. You know, you
Yes.
have to be grounded in that, you know, if you don't make it, you know, you have to be happy with wherever you're at.
Right. And what's to say that you're not successful in your career right now? What's that to say? Okay, so, you know, I didn't book the last few auditions, but, you know, I'm doing what I love. So God bless America.
Yeah, no, that's great. Because like I said, I look at things, unfortunately, on the glass half empty side. And my wife's like, you know, I'll tell her like some of my, you know, old college classmates will be like, hey man, like they'll just message me like, hey, I see you doing your thing. Like you have this project coming out, that project coming out. I saw you won an award. Like that's awesome. And in my mind, I'm like, this award, what the fuck is, you know,
I know,
that's
but
what I'm saying. Like I need to get out
understand.
of that mind, and I don't know how to get, and that's what I'm working on in therapy is like how to get out of the mindset of everything sucks or everything is not what it or like really, or like everything is not what it really means. Like everything is not what it seems to be. Like I leave awards on my desk, you know, when I write. So like for inspiration, but sometimes I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like really, like, and I hate to, I'm being honest.
It's
so whether
easy,
people like it or not,
no,
I hate, I'm sorry, but it is what it is.
You have to be
you know?
honest, because I think once you get to the root of it, and the root of any issue or problem is, you got to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you can't work your way up from that if you're going to be dishonest.
No, you
it's
can't.
like not being honest in therapy. Then why are you there?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And then that was my thing in therapy in the beginning. I was not really being open.
It takes some time, though.
And my therapist, she was like, yeah, it took a while for me to get through, and then once it got through, like it helped. But yeah, I just don't know why I can't, like why something can't click where like, you know, this is where I am meant to be. You know, like where I'm at right now is like I am meant to be an artist. Like so why can't, like, and you know, does it fall under that imposter syndrome, or does it fall under like, you know, me comparing myself to that person, this person, you know, or me being like, you know, I really didn't make it. But like in the grand scheme of things, like for people who want, you know, to be married, to have a kid, to have a successful job, and then and then another job, you know, because this job, to, you know, I have my 9 to 5, and then I think my film like we're recording this on a weeknight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like after work.
Right.
Like that's
You're
another
hustling.
like job in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like from an outside perspective, it's kind of like the whole like It's a Wonderful Life, like kind of like story, be Jimmy Stewart for a second. Like what would life be without you? Or what would it be if things were different? You look at it from perspective, like, some people don't have the things that I've been gracious enough to have. I was just
going to say, perhaps you should look at it like, look at the people that and you have to know there are people out there that strive to be like you. Everybody strives to be.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, you're right though. Because I'm striving to be like someone else.
Exactly.
So someone's
and
looking
that gives
at me.
Us, maybe that helps us
or
gives us the drive to, reach further for those goals,
mm-hmm.
Reach harder, go higher. But there's always God, this sounds so messed up. This sounds really messed up, and I don't mean it. But there's people that are, I don't want to say under or below you, because that's just not politically correct. But there are people who would admire what you have and what you've done.
Yeah.
And what you've accomplished. Right there. And again, I could say that to you 40 times till I'm blue in the face. I could turn upside down, spit quarters out of my mouth, and you're going to be like, shut up. You have to really feel that. You have to really believe that.
No, that's true. It's, I think as much people don't want to admit this, and, I think having validation from your peers is a big, big thing. Honestly,
it helps a lot.
I think posting a trailer, posting a new project, getting that message of like, hey, I watch this, I really enjoy it. As much as people don't ever want to admit, or like, I'll tell my wife like that's important to me. She's like, well, why do you care what other people think? I'm like, it's not just any other people, it's my peers.
Exactly. And it's not about that you're looking for their validation. No, but like in a way you are.
Yeah. Well, I just want fellow artists to be like, damn, I really liked what you did.
Right. So
I loved your performance. I loved the tone of it. Like, wow, you were able to do this. Like,
but
holy
you don't
shit.
need to be valid. This is getting way too deep. You don't need to be validated as a person. Maybe you want to be validated as an artist.
Yes.
See, and that I love when people say, Randee, I saw Delamorte, or I saw your performance in this or that. And wow, you were really good. Like, I had a cop come up to me, a detective, after one of the screenings, and he's like, I had to find you. He goes, I'm a retired detective. He goes, you played that role great. Now, whether another detective would come and be like, you have no idea what the hell you're doing. Why would you even, but the guy, the fact that the guy came up to me, told me he was a detective, and that I played it right, the emotions right, meant so, God, I wish I remember his name. I give him a shout out. It meant so much to me. So I do understand.
No, I definitely agree. And like going back to Hang On To Your Shorts, when like little did she know was up for 4 awards.
Yep.
Katie and I were up for it. I think it was up for Best New Jersey Film and Best Ensemble. And we took one home, and it was Katie.
Yes.
And we're seeing Katie like freak the fuck out and like go up there. Like I was not expected to win. And like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like she was up against some well-known like actresses who have won at that festival in the past. And she was, I think 21 years old.
Yeah, she's a baby.
She was a baby. She still is,
I know.
really. But no,
She's
but
so
she was a
cute.
baby. And it was like, that's where it's like, man, like, I could see like when you look at like other award shows, when other people like a part of a project are like, holy shit, it makes you feel good. It's the same thing for you. Like, you're probably just, the film's over, you're networking, you're sitting there, and someone just randomly comes up to you and is like, hey, I had to find you.
I had to look for you.
I've
had
that happen
myself.
a few times. Like, hey man, I had to come up to you and like, you were funny as fuck in that. And I was like, man, I don't even know you. And I love that compliment, but the validation as a Chris Orangeo as a human being, I don't, maybe deep down, like, subconsciously, I think I need that. But no, I do need the validation of Chris Orangeo, the employee, the husband, the son, the sister, the brother, the filmmaker. Like, you do want that validation, and more so or not, like, at first I was like, man, am I going to be a good husband? And more as it's gone on, because it's very new, my marriage, but we've been together 6-7 years.
Right.
I am getting comfortable in like, okay, like her and I, like she's the one for me, because she's very much like, she puts up with a lot of my shit. I do with her as well, but like she's very much a big supporter of this. But like as an artist, like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be cool. Like, I don't need your validation. No, I
think it's cool that you're saying that.
I do look out, like if I do post a project and like you comment, like, like the little Did She Know fam will like all post in the comments like, that means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
And this is no disrespect to my family. It means more to me for my film mom, to comment on it than my mom, because my mom is
looking
that's
out
how
for
my mom is, but she's always going to be like
your biggest supporter.
She's always going to be
fan.
like, I love you.
Right.
I moved back home to go to these festivals to see your films. Like, yeah, like I'm going to be there.
But now you have a peer saying to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when with Andrew Froning or another writer, another actor, be like, yo, man, like good shit. It's like, okay, like then I feel like for that moment, for that day, I'm like, okay, like my peer who has said that. And then there's really no, that's to me like what being a successful artist is in a sense. Like it's just having the respect from your peers.
Yeah.
Honestly. There are some projects where like, I'm sure you've come across a handful. I know I have, where I'm like, fuck, why am I on this project? So I know some people are like, oh, it's like you said, like, the work you're doing and all that. But like, I don't know how many festivals you went for Della Morta, but like, I'm sure everywhere you went, like having like, your whole cast and crew there and like your producers and like all of you just watching it together. Like there was probably never a better feeling than that.
No, I mean, the premiere was the biggest amount of cast and crew members that we had there at the Golden Door Film Festival. But, Judith and I have really taken on the responsibility, for lack of a better word, of, showing up at the festivals and plugging our film, and we're the co-producers. Yeah. And it was what we wanted to do. And Andrew's been awesome. Him and his son Bennett at 16 co-wrote it too.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. And, every individual is different, and you're going to get different feelings and different views and different opinions, but you got to do you and what's going to make you happy at the end of the day.
So the amount of pressure you put on yourself, whether it's minute or it's a lot, it's another question. Like the episode before with you on it, helpful or harmful to you, the pressure you put on yourself?
I'm going to say it again. It can be helpful and it could be harmful, but you don't really want to put too much pressure on yourself, because then you're going to lose sight of, I don't want to lose sight of Randee and what Randee's goals are, so acceptance, it's about acceptance and where I am. And if I fuck up, I'm going to, I'm strong. I'm going to bounce back from that.
No, that's actually pretty beautiful because it's,
Chris has a tear.
And it's not a tattoo tear like Lil Wayne. But no, I think this episode particularly is very, or this topic anyways, is very like near and dear to me, because I think I'm going to be on, this being very honest and raw. I think the most harmful thing I do to myself is all the pressure I put on myself.
Yeah.
Like my wife will sit there and say like, you do not like the artist you are, you don't like this, you don't like that. And it's just because it's the inner voice of me saying like, man, like, am I really an artist, or like, am I just a fucking hack? So the pressure plus the imposter syndrome, like it's kind of coming together, but I haven't felt that way in a very, very, in a while, actually. I felt that in 2020 and 2021, the tail end of 2021, I produced and acted in a project of my, with my buddy who I met in Florida, who moved up to the, the New Rochelle area. And then I was, I did four out of the 20 days on the feature film that Andrew shot. I was on there. So like, going into 2022, I felt like a little like pep in my step. And then producing this podcast, I was just like, I'm just going to do it. Like,
right.
I asked for all this equipment for Christmas. I want nothing else from anyone, and I'm just going to do it. And I hope it, when I edit it together and I piece it together and it ends up making sense, and you're proud of your episode, other actors are proud of their episodes,
right.
but
you're not just doing it for you. It's almost like you need to have the people that you're interviewing not look good, but you know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm doing this because I wanted to get to know everyone a little bit better. And I didn't really necessarily reach out to anyone. I posted it on Facebook. If I got 0 responses, then I probably would not have done it.
Okay.
Really.
All right.
But I think, you know, the responses I got from some people I know, some people I don't know, and I'm still going to interview them. Like, that's what, you know, I'm doing. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm doing it for the benefit of everyone. I'm just saying, like, in case if anyone needed to sit and talk and,
Right.
and, you know, if, you know,
There's,
I hope at the end of the night, you know, you're like, man, this was kind of therapeutic, or this
Yeah.
was much needed. Like, that's, you know, my drive home, I'm going to be like, I might feel a little bit better because it's like, I got a lot off my chest. Kind
absolutely,
of thing, you know?
absolutely. And that's what artists are there for each other. I mean,
Yeah.
the biggest support I've gotten, and again, yeah, your family, but the peers, because they know
Yeah.
exactly what you're going through.
And I think it bothers, like, you know, some close people in my life that, like, I can talk to an artist versus talk to them.
And it's nothing against them. You
No,
know, you
it's
have that
not.
special relationship with them,
Yeah.
whether it's a family member or whether it's a friend, but they're just not comprehending it
Mhm.
like another person in the industry who is a close friend
Yeah.
gets it, and they know how to, you know, pull you up and bring you back
Exactly.
sometimes, you know.
And, you know, you see it on a bigger scale, like, ooh, these two actors are involved and this is and that. And, like, there's always ever been, like, a platonic friendship and relationship with everyone I've been with,
Yep.
like, everyone I've talked to here, you know, like, you know, I've had people that my first interview, I think she said, like, oh yeah, all my ex-boyfriends were artists. She's like, and that's bad fucking news, you know.
Some
And
people
that's
like
funny.
it.
No,
yeah.
some people do, you know. And, like, my you know, my wife is very creative. You know, her day job is not art, but she is very, very creative, and she wears her heart on her sleeve. So there are times where her and I, it's a very emotional household, you know.
Yeah.
But no, but and it's nothing against her. It's nothing against, like, my family at all. It's just, man, like, you know, another actor my age, and if it's a male, thank God, or just another, like, not even my age, just someone who's in the industry who, like, we've been through a project together and we've had
And they
talks together.
understand. Yeah.
They understand, like, the rejection, or they understand of, like, the pressure, or, like, oh man, I feel this way. Like, I'm not alone. I think that's very important.
I've read on social media certain actors throughout the years, you know, posting gratitude for other actors that have, quote, you know, talked them off the ledge.
Yeah.
When they're ready to quit. And, you know, I don't know if a family member or a friend who's not in the industry can do that. An actor friend knows what that person's really going through. And it's nothing against family members. It's just it could be a very precarious sort of situation. And yeah, they've posted that you know, and they'll give accolades to this person, or, you know, they'll be kind of quiet about it. They won't say the person's name, but somebody helped talked me off the ledge and,
Yeah.
you know, made me realize why I'm in this field, and my love that I do have for it. Sometimes it just needs a little help coming back out.
Yeah, no, I think you need someone like that all the time. You need
because it's not easy.
No,
it's not.
it's
And I hate
not.
to keep saying that.
No, but you're right. But, you know, you're right though. I know you might be like, oh, I'm beating a dead horse, but no, it's the truth. It's not. If it was easy, as everyone says, everyone would do
be
it,
doing it.
right?
Yeah.
So it's not easy. You know, it's tough to have to keep coming back over and over and over and being like, all right, here we go again. Who knows how this experience is going to
exactly.
be? I'm driving an hour out, like, for little to no money. Like, let's hope it works out, you know? But there's some days where, like, the day after I'm on a set, my wife's like, I don't want to be around you because you're just so down. And it's true, because it's like I'm on set or I'm working on a project and it's like, man, now I'm back to, like, why can't I do that every day?
Right.
You know?
Right. Well,
so,
you just got to hang in there, but that's
Exactly.
easier said than done.
Exactly.
I know it is.
No, but it's true. So, but I do appreciate you hopping on here. You know, if this train keeps rolling and there's more topics to be talked about, I would love to have you back on. But thank you very much. I'm happy that this episode we, you know, got a little real here, and I do appreciate that because I got to know Randee Sloane better. Do you want to plug anything, your social medias, any other films you may be working on? Like, you know, if you want to plug anything, please go ahead.
Find me on Facebook at Randee Sloane, Randee, and then my handle on Instagram is at Randee, Randee, actor27. And just as far as any future projects, again, that full length stage production that Andrew Marino and I are working on, and we're very serious about it. And we have a couple of short film projects in the works, like you. And that's where that's enough right now.
Well, thank you again, Randee, for coming on. I loved it.
Thank you, Chris. Always.
Once again, this is Where Is My Mind, a podcast about mental health and the arts. I'm host and producer of the podcast, Christopher Orangeo. All episodes will be available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, and Amazon Music. Once again, this is Chris Orangeo, and thank you for supporting.